joining us on the phone line. He's a security analyst. Emmanuel, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Johnny, thank you for having me. Very good morning to your cherished listeners.
Was it a good thing for IGP Dampare to have been sacked?
Well, it's standard practice. One cannot impugn good or bad here. I think the president has the prerogative to appoint and disappoint whom he feels can better serve his purpose in his research agenda. So to me, every COP in the Ghana Police Service has the opportunity to serve as an IGP. And to me, I think it's an opportunity and it's not a privilege. So we cannot impugn good or bad here. But what surprises most of us is the personnel itself, the kind of jubilation and party mode the personnel are in. And this morning, my checks in most of the police stations indicate that most of the personnel are in white. They have ditched the uniform, and it's so telling. So to me, there are a lot of things that went wrong with the police as an administration under the leadership of Dampare. If you look at our democratic settings, it's all about decentralization, and that is the more purpose of the concept of the community policing. I know, given historical antecedent of our police as an institution, the colonial master did decide that it served the purpose of the regime and not the people. So if you look at the history of the institution from 1992, there were decentralization programs in place to make sure that the ordinary citizens were the beneficiary of the institution and not the other way around. But under Dampare, there were so many unpopular decisions he did or he made. For instance, every country relies on crime statistics to plan in terms of policy. Under his leadership, he scrapped that department, and there have not been any single crime statistic under his watch. And I think that was not good for us as a country. And the other thing he did, most of us were not happy with the cyber security, cyber unit. You know that one of the essential threats for any country in today is cyber security. And the then Director General of CID, Mamitiwa, went at great length to even solicit funding from an international organization to set up that unit within the police service. You remember, I don't know if it's the ACP now or DCOP, Gustav, who headed the cyber crime unit.
I think that he's DCOP now, because at the time when he was head of the cyber unit in the earlier period, it was a CSP. If you have had 8, maybe 9 years, now he should climb up to DCOP.
And he was removed, and the guy has been inactive for some time now. And you see, Johnny, it's so telling. Today, if you ask anybody who's the regional commander of a particular region, you get to know, because Dampare had made this side that if a crime should happen, let's say in Tamale, until he gives a directive and a process release from Accra, the regional commander cannot even speak about it, or the regional PRO. I think those were acts that were not in tandem with the principles of democracy. And one other complaint the personnel spoke largely about was their welfare fund. When you go for peacekeeping, money comes through that fund, and there were options. If you're a serving officer and you were in the red and you need a soft loan, you could be assisted. Under his watch, nothing. And more critical to his tenure was when extrajudicial killing allegations were made against his person. And it was not even coming outside from the police itself. You remember the Blake audio tape when police officers appeared before Parliament under oath, and they were prepared to testify on the extrajudicial killings that happened under his watch. And I think that was so telling. But unfortunately, Parliament ran away from that. And he became a corpse in the police as if he's untouchable. So I think one of the thank you the president can give the police as an institution is his removal. So the new IGP has a whole lot of things to do.
But to be fair
time is not on his side too.
But to be fair to IGP Dampare, it is not yet his retirement age, or?
Yes, but if you look at the communication from the presidency, it's so telling. It is a departure from other communications we get from the presidency. Apart from mentioning the replacements and mentioning the years COP has been in the service, there was no any indication of thank you to the IGP for his service over the period. There was no any indication about his next move. And don't forget, he's not 60 years yet, and the future is pregnant. We'll see what happens in the coming days. And you see, I think Imani and Professor Kisini and Kofi Benson have not helped their good friend. I think they wanted to test the
how is that?
President. You see, Johnny, if you look at even advanced democracies, let's use US as an example. The Constitution guarantees the tenure of office of security head. But executive power overrides all those things. But some of us were troubled. Initially, when I heard they went to court for the Supreme Court to interpret certain provisions, and they were even seeking certain relief, making it impossible for security heads to be removed when they are appointed. I laughed. But yesterday in the afternoon, when I saw them go back to court that, they were invoking the jurisdiction of the EPEC court to kind of prevent the president from making eminent changes to the security head, especially Dampare. I laughed. How do you go to court on hearsay? So I think this thing triggered the president. The president said, look, I need to show them I'm in charge.
I see.
And Johnny, you are a journalist. You've heard the complaints of the personnel. Dampare appears outside to be an angel. You understand? But then I liken him to a father who doesn't take care of his children and the wife, but taking the goodies outside and appear outside to be the best dad. Meanwhile, the inside is rotten. Don't forget, the police as an institution is a regimental institution, and it's highly impossible to see the kind of rebellion we got from the personnel under his administration. So in effect, the beautiful police institution that Dampare created, that same institution would take care of him.
I see. Emmanuel Kotin, we're grateful that you could speak to us. He's the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism. We're grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.